My best friend told me, if you love her, let it go. Everyone makes mistakes. He was talking about his sister, my wife, who slept with his roommate. So I let it go. Until the gender reveal party. I stood up, held the mic, and said, let's play a game, who's the real father? Then I pulled out the DNA test. I never thought I'd be sharing this, but here we are. This all unfolded in Austin, Texas, and it's been a roller coaster. I'm 34 now, but this started when I was 30. My best friend, Mike, and I have been inseparable since middle school. We did everything together, played football, went to the same college, and even ended up working at the same tech company downtown. Mike has a younger sister, Sarah, 2 years younger than us. She was always around, and over time, we grew close. Eventually, we started dating, and after 3 years, we got married. Mike was my best man. Life was good. We bought a house in the suburbs, got a golden retriever, and started talking about having kids. Sarah worked as a nurse, and I was climbing the corporate ladder. Everything seemed perfect. Then came the news, Sarah was pregnant. We were overjoyed. We decided to have a gender reveal party at our place. Friends, family, co-workers, everyone was invited. Mike brought his roommate, Jake, who I'd met a few times. He seemed like a decent guy, a bit quiet but friendly. A week before the party, I was at a bar with Mike, just catching up. We were a few beers in when he said, "Hey, man, I need to tell you something." I could tell he was nervous. He continued, "I think Sarah and Jake had a thing, while you two were together." I was stunned. I asked him what he meant, and he said he walked in on them once, but they claimed it was a mistake, a one-time thing. He didn't tell me earlier because he thought it was over and didn't want to ruin our friendship or my marriage. He said, if you love her, let it go. Everyone makes mistakes. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. My best friend knew my wife cheated on me and didn't tell me? And with his roommate? I left the bar without saying another word. I couldn't sleep that night. I kept thinking about the baby. Was it mine? I decided to get a DNA test. I swabbed my mouth and, when Sarah was asleep, I swabbed hers from a used toothbrush. I sent the samples to a lab. The results came back 2 days before the party. The baby wasn't mine. I was devastated. I didn't confront Sarah immediately. I needed a plan. The day of the party arrived. Our backyard was decorated with pink and blue balloons. Everyone was excited. We had a big box filled with colored balloons that would reveal the baby's gender when opened. Before we opened the box, I took the microphone. I thanked everyone for coming and said, before we find out the gender, let's play a game. It's called, Who's the Real Father? The crowd laughed nervously. I pulled out the DNA test results and read them aloud. Gasps filled the air. Sarah turned pale. Jake tried to leave, but Mike stopped him. I looked at Sarah and said, I know about you and Jake. I know the baby isn't mine. This party is over. I walked inside, packed a bag, and left. It's been a few years since that day. Sarah and I divorced. She and Jake tried to make it work, but it didn't last. Mike and I haven't spoken since. I'm in therapy, trying to move on. Trust is hard, but I'm getting there. After the gender reveal bomb dropped, everything spiraled. I moved out that night. I crashed at a coworker's place for a few weeks while I figured out what to do next. Sarah kept texting and calling non-stop. Voicemails full of crying, begging, and half-true explanations. She said she didn't know what she was thinking, that it was just once, and that she still loved me. I didn't respond. Not at first. Then Mike reached out. Yeah, Mike, the same guy who knew his sister cheated and told me to just let it go. He showed up at my office unannounced. I wasn't going to talk to him, but my curiosity got the better of me. We went out to the parking lot. No handshakes. Just silence. He finally said, "I didn't know the baby wasn't yours." If I had known, I cut him off. "You knew enough." He looked down. Jake confessed. After the party. He admitted it wasn't just once. It happened 3 times. 3 times. I felt like the air was sucked out of my lungs. Not a one-time drunken mistake. A full-on mini affair. Under my roof, too, apparently. And here's the kicker, Jake moved out of Mike's place the day after the party. Left a note and vanished. No one's seen him since. Sarah? She went radio silent after a few more ignored calls. But then, 3 weeks later, I got a message from her mom. A long paragraph begging me to meet with Sarah. Said she'd been hospitalized for stress and dehydration, and that she wasn't doing well. I didn't know how to feel. Part of me felt cold. Another part felt guilt. She was my wife. I agreed to meet her at the hospital. Just for 10 minutes. She looked awful. Pale. Dark circles under her eyes. No makeup, hair a mess, wearing one of those oversized hospital gowns. First thing she said. "I'm sorry. But I'm scared." She started crying. Said she hadn't heard from Jake either. Said he ghosted her too. Said she wasn't even sure he was the father anymore, because there was another guy. Yeah. Another guy. Apparently, about 6 months before the pregnancy, when we were in a rough patch, she went to a nurses' conference in San Antonio. Met a guy from Denver. One-night thing. She swore it was just once. So now we had a third possible father. And Sarah, my wife, who had been acting like I was her entire world, might not even know who the real dad is. I walked out. Didn't say anything else. But here's where it gets even worse. 2 days after that visit, I got a call from Mike. His voice was shaky. Said he got a call from Jake. Out of the blue. Jake told him someone broke into his place. Not to steal anything, but to leave a box. Inside the box? Baby clothes. A positive pregnancy test. And a sticky note that read, "Tell the truth or I will." Jake was freaking out. He said it wasn't from Sarah. Swore it was someone else. Now everyone's scared. Sarah's barely sleeping. Jake moved back in with his parents in Houston. And me? I'm starting to think, maybe someone else knows everything. Someone watching all of us. Or maybe Sarah's not telling the full story. Because a week later, I came home to find a photo on my doorstep. No envelope. Just a single printed photo of Sarah, kissing Jake in my car. Not parked anywhere private, either. Parked in front of my office. They'd met up during work hours. She told me it was just 3 times, and months ago. That photo? Date stamped 3 weeks before the party. So yeah. I don't know what to believe anymore. But I'm starting to think, this goes deeper than I thought. There's more. I can feel it. After that photo showed up, I stopped wondering if there was more, and started wondering who else knew. I didn't show it to Sarah. Not yet. I wanted to see if she'd come clean on her own. Instead, I showed it to Mike. He stared at it for a long time. Said nothing. Then, with a weird calm in his voice, he goes, "She told me she used your car once to run errands. Borrowed your keys from the hook when you were asleep." That was true. I remembered waking up one Saturday and not finding my car in the driveway. She said she went to Target. I didn't think anything of it. Now I did. Mike kept staring at the photo. Then he looked at me and said something that made my skin crawl. I think she did it on purpose. What? He looked serious. I think she wanted you to find out. But she wanted you to explode. Not, walk away. That sat with me all night. Then another twist hit, this one straight out of nowhere. The lab that ran the DNA test called me. Said they needed to confirm something. Apparently, they had a second test submitted, same mother, but different alleged fathers. I never submitted another one. Which meant, someone else did. I pushed for info, and they eventually admitted someone claiming to be the uncle submitted his sample. Had the same address as Sarah's hospital file. The guy used the name Alex K. I didn't know any Alex. So I called Sarah's mom. And she hesitated, then said, Alex was Sarah's ex. From before you two. We told her to stay away from him. He was bad news. But she was obsessed. Apparently, Sarah and Alex had a toxic on-again, off-again thing before she ever met me. He got arrested twice, one for assault, one for drugs. Her family thought it ended when she met me. But now, he was back, and submitting DNA tests. I confronted Sarah again. I didn't want drama, but I wanted answers. I showed her the lab info. I asked if it was true. She didn't deny it. She just nodded. It was before Jake. Just once. I needed closure. Before Jake. After me. So let's recap. Jake wasn't a one-time mistake. There was a mystery guy from a nurses' conference. And now there was Alex, the ex with a rap sheet. That made 3 potential fathers. None of them me. And that wasn't even the worst part. Later that week, Mike texted me, just one line, we need to talk. I've been lying too. I met him in his car, parked outside the old diner we used to hang out at in college. He looked like hell. Bloodshot eyes. Like he hadn't slept. He didn't beat around the bush. She wasn't just seeing Jake. I stared at him. I know. I talked to the lab. The Denver guy. The ex. He shook his head. No. I mean, while you were together. Not just after fights. There were more. He pulled out a list. Names. Handwritten. 6 in total. I asked around. Some were guys we knew. From work. Some I had to dig through her messages. I wanted to punch him. For hiding this. For being her brother and still letting me marry her. But I also knew he was trying to come clean now. I took the list and left. Went back to the place I was renting. Poured a drink. Stared at the paper. Names. Just names. One of them was circled. Ethan S. It didn't click at first. But then I remembered, Ethan was the guy who took over my position temporarily while I was out sick with COVID the year before. The guy Sarah insisted I invite to our holiday party. I called him. He picked up. Sounded surprised. I said, hey, this is me. I just have one question. Silence. Then he said, you know, don't you? I hung up. So here I am. My wife might have slept with 6 different guys. My best friend's roommate. An old flame. A stranger from a nurse conference. A guy I worked with. And more. The baby? Still a mystery. The gender reveal wasn't just a party. It was the start of something darker. Someone's watching us. Photos. Notes. Boxes. DNA tests submitted without me knowing. And I have this feeling that I've only scratched the surface. Want me to go deeper? Let me know. There's more. Way more. I didn't sleep the night I hung up on Ethan. I just sat there, staring at that list of names, trying to figure out what part of my marriage was ever real. Every good memory felt fake now. Rewritten. And then I got a text. Unknown number, you want the truth? Come to 1247 Palmer Street. 8 p.m. Come alone. It felt like a movie. But by that point, I didn't care if it was a trap, a joke, or a setup. I needed to know everything. Every single thing. I drove across town. It was a small event space. One of those places people rent for baby showers and birthdays. The parking lot had 2 cars already, Sarah's and Mike's. I walked in and froze. It was all of them. Mike. Sarah. Her mom. Ethan. Even Jake was there, standing in the back looking like he wanted to be anywhere else. A few others I didn't recognize at first, 2 were on the list. One was the guy from her work, the other, probably the Denver guy. Sarah was standing near the middle, hands shaking. She looked up at me with red, swollen eyes. I asked them to come, she said. All of them. Because I couldn't keep lying anymore. I looked at Mike. He nodded like he'd known. Then she started talking. She didn't cry. She didn't break down. She just confessed. I was lost. I was angry. Every time you worked late or got promoted or seemed happy, I felt small. I thought, maybe if I had someone else to pay attention to me, I'd feel okay again. It wasn't about love. It wasn't even about sex, really. It was about power. Control. Resentment she never talked about. She cheated during our first year of marriage. And she never stopped. Every time you forgave me for something small, I thought I could get away with more, she said. Everyone was silent. Jake looked embarrassed. Ethan wouldn't make eye contact. One of the other guys just walked out without saying anything. Then Sarah turned to me. The baby, it's probably Alex's. But I don't know. I wanted it to be yours. I really did. That's when I laughed. I actually laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was insane. She wanted my name on the birth certificate. My face in the hospital. My last name on a child who might have had 3 different possible fathers. I said nothing. I just looked at her mom, who was quietly crying. Then Mike. Mike finally said, "You don't have to stay here. I'll drive you." But I didn't leave yet. I looked at Sarah one more time. You didn't just lie, I told her. You invited me into a life that didn't exist. You made me build something with you, dreams, plans, a family, that was fake. You made me the fool in a story where I was supposed to be the partner. She said nothing. Just nodded. So I left. Mike followed me out. He tried to talk. I stopped him. You knew. You protected her. Over and over. She's my sister, and I was your best friend. Remember? That shut him up. I drove away. Didn't look back. Sarah ended up moving back in with her mom. I heard later through a friend that the baby was Alex's. He tried to step up for a while, then bailed. She's a single mom now. Mike and I haven't spoken since that night. I've blocked everyone who was there. Deleted photos. Changed numbers. It took months before I stopped checking over my shoulder. For a while, I couldn't even sit through a work meeting without wondering who was lying to me. Therapy helped. Slowly. Trust? Still working on that. I started running. Not for health or fitness, just to get out of my head. At least pavement doesn't lie to you. Every step is real. Do I forgive her? No. Not yet. Maybe not ever. Do I miss her? Sometimes. The version of her I thought I had. I learned that silence is dangerous. That when you let things go, you're sometimes just making room for something worse. That loyalty isn't owed, it's earned. And that people don't change just because you love them enough. So yeah, it hurts. Still. But I survived. And I'll never ignore my gut again.